The Blohm Voss BV 141 was a World War II German tactical reconnaissance aircraft, notable for its uncommon structural asymmetry. The ministry was in charge of development and production of all aircraft developed, designed and built in Germany during the existence of the Third Reich, overseeing all matters concerning both military and civilian designs. It handled military aviation matters as its top priority, particularly for the Luftwaffe. As was characteristic of government departments in the Nazi era, the ministry was personality-driven and formal procedures were often ignored in favor of the whims of the minister, Reichsmarschall Hermann Göring. As a result, early successes in aircraft development progressed only slowly and erratically during World War II. 1. The ministry was formed on the 27th of April 1933 from the Reich Commissariat for Aviation, which had been established 2 months earlier with Göring at its head. In this early phase, the ministry was little more than Göring's personal staff. Defense Minister General Werner von Blomberg decided that the importance of aviation was such that it should no longer be subordinate to the German army. In May 1933, he transferred the Army's Department of Military Aviation to the ministry. The ministry was now much larger, consisting of 2 large departments, the Military Luftschutzammt and the civilian Allgemeines Luftamt. Erhard Milch, the former head of Deutsche Lufthansa, was placed in direct control of the LA, in his function as Secretary of State for Aviation. The result was a collection of 6, Luftkommando, Allgemeines Luftamt, Technisches AMT in charge of all research and development, but having no clear way of receiving and acting on requests from frontline combat personnel of the Luftwaffe during the war years, to improve their aviation and weapons technology as a technical-tactical department would do in other nations' military aviation bureaus, the Luftwaffenverwaltungsamt for construction, Luftwaffenpersonellamt for training and staffing, and the Zentralabteilung, Central Command. With the rapid growth of the Luftwaffe following the outbreak of World War II in 1939, the ministry grew so large that Göring was no longer able to maintain control. The ministry building was one of the few public edifices in central Berlin to survive the severe Allied bombings in 1944-45. The reverse looked almost the same as the obverse, but a black swastika replaced the eagle and eagles replaced the 4 swastikas. The differences of the obverse were that now there was placed in the center a gold swastika, and instead of the 4 black swastikas 4 golden Luftwaffe eagles were added. The reverse displayed a golden Luftwaffe eagle in the center and 4 golden swastikas set in each corner of the flag. List of aircraft engines of Germany during World War II. List of RLM aircraft. List of weapons of military aircraft of Germany during World War II. List of RLM paint designations. Air Ministry, the British government department organizing the Royal Air Force. German Finance Ministry brochure on the history of the Detlev Rohwedder House. Although the Blohm Voss BV 141 performed well, it was never ordered into full-scale production, for reasons that included the unavailability of the preferred engine in competition from another tactical reconnaissance aircraft, the Focke Wulf FW 189. In 1937, the German Air Ministry, the Reichsluftfahrtministerium, issued a specification for a single-engine reconnaissance aircraft with optimal visual characteristics. The preferred contractor was Arado with the AR 198, but the prototype proved unsuccessful. The eventual winner was the Focke Wulf FW 189 UHU. Even though its twin-boom design using 2 smaller engines did not match the requirement of a single-engined aircraft. Blohm and Voss, although not invited to participate, pursued as a private venture something far more radical. The proposal of chief designer Dr. Richard Vogt was the uniquely asymmetric BV 141. The plexiglass glazed crew gondola on the starboard side strongly resembled that found on the FW 189, and housed the pilot, observer and rear gunner, while the fuselage on the port side led smoothly from the BMW 132N radial engine to a tail unit. At first glance, the placement of weight would have induced tendency to roll, but the weight was evenly supported by lift from the wings. In terms of thrust versus drag asymmetry, the countering of induced yaw was a more complicated matter. At low airspeed, it was calculated to be mostly alleviated because of a phenomenon known as P-factor, while at normal airspeed it proved to be easily controlled with trimming. The tailplane was symmetrical at first, but in the 141B it became asymmetrical, starboard tailplane virtually removed, to improve the rear gunner's fields of view and fire. 3 prototypes in an evaluation batch of 5 BV 141s were produced, backed personally by Ernst Udet, but the RLM decided on the 4th of April 1940 that they were underpowered, although it was also noted they otherwise exceeded the requirements. By the time a batch of 12 BV-141Bs were built with the more powerful BMW 801 engines, they were too late to make an impression, as the RLM had already decided to put the FW-189 into production. An urgent need for BMW 801 engines for use in the FW-190 fighter aircraft reduced the chance of the BV-141B being produced in quantity. Vogt came up with several other asymmetric designs, including the piston jet P.194. Several wrecked BV-141s were found by advancing Allied forces. One was captured by British forces and sent to England for examination. All 20 of the BV-141Bs that were ordered were produced and delivered. There exists a complete record of BV-141 production with either a German civil registration number or pre-military, 4-letter Stammkennzeichen factory radio code number.